You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, otherwise known as BZ's Saloon. I happen to be this little gentleman over here. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of chaos, Demorat, leftist, globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. And there was a little gnat right in front of my face. I got you. I killed you. I killed you dead. So anyway, welcome to everybody here tonight. Please notice that what you're about to hear tonight consists of my opinion and my opinion only. It's me by my own self, SEF again, and I am doing the job that the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. You would want me to do no less. And right here, because it's the saloon, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks right here in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, clarity, tradition, and common sense for actual normal people like you and me. So, politics, religion, the things that people warn you don't talk about, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law, we talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free but the booze is not. And I am never giving that up. You can censor me. You're going to have to kill me. I just hope it won't get to that portion of stupidity. But I am not hedging my bets for any money, for any monetization, or any of that stupid crap. You know, I have a nice retirement. I have a damn skippy retirement, so I don't need anybody's money, and you have nothing to hold over my damn head. Quite frankly, I'm very proud of that. So I am streaming live on the SHR Media YouTube channel. I am streaming live on the SHR Media Rumble channel, on X, on Twitch, on KLRN. Crossing my fingers that Rick Robinson is simulcasting me on KLRN right now. It happens to be March the 11th, Tuesday, March 11th, the year of our Lord, 2025, which I think looks something like this. And the theme of the show tonight is something similar to Everybody Doubles Down on Trump. You know, it's like the themes write themselves and the stories write themselves. Because my mantra has changed with the technology, and that shouldn't come as any shock to anybody at all. With this new technology, that's another thing we're going to have to figure out. Last Thursday, the technology let me down a little bit, and as I attempted to put scenes into the program, people were telling me, well, we can hear what you're saying, what the cut is saying, but we can't see it. So maybe, hopefully, I have fixed that. As I was as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by myself. BZ, don't you ever do that again. Okay. With this new technology, I'm able to not just make claims about any number of topics. I can bring the articles to you. I can bring the graphics to you. I can bring the issues to you in a way that I was never able to before. The most important point is I don't need to, nor do I, make up any of this stuff. I don't need to. It's right in the front of everyone's faces, my face, your face. It's there to be seen, and the faces of the American media maggots, if they're actually interested in looking. I'm going to do some slightly different things tonight. Let's go up into the chat room. And by the way, oh yeah, here we go. Cheetah is in chat. I thought there were free drinks on Tuesday. That's it. I'm out of here. Oh, thanks. Yeah, fair weather friend. And of course, Mission Ready Men, who is Earl Big E Jackson, a great kind of a guy. And he has a show that we will talk about during the break. Because I have purchased some of his swag, and it's good swag too. He added, so he added it addingly. And also I will tell you about all the SHR media shows at the end of El Broadcast. That's Spanish for the broadcast. In case you were not certain, people say, BZ, let's pull this out here. People say, BZ, do you drink on the show? And I would say something similar to only if my shows end with a Y. Hey, you have to run on heavy fuel. There's no doubt about that. So I'm breaking the segments down tonight a little bit in terms of, oh, hey, look, it's our good friend from SHR, Reaver of Common Sense. Am I too late? Of course you are not too late. We have just started the show, sir. So I dare I tell you, I guess I may as well. Oh, by the way, I should state this before I forget, because forgetting, that's me. If during the course of the show, I'm playing a video or a cut that I've told you that there will be audio to, or you hear the audio, but you don't see the video, let me know. If you would, please, because I hope that I have got things settled with StreamYard, but the proof is in the pudding, and I will only know if you guys really help me out. I am asking you to help me out tonight. And let me know if you can hear something, but you can't see it. And all you can see is just a little picture of the fat guy over here on the left-hand side over there. So helping me out in that will help quite a bit. As I indicated, I am of two minds about this, but I have a meeting, I guess not a meeting, an appointment. This will be the first one that I've had in, well, since, let's see, 2016. Now, I retired in 2016 after 41 years of law enforcement. And since then, literally, quite literally, the day I retired, I stopped shaving and I stopped cutting my hair. And this is what you see. However, you will please note, important safety tip, I have not stopped eating. Hence, also, oh, hey, Cheetah also says in chat, he's going to hang around the lounge and play some 9-ball. The pool tables are half price till midnight. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. So, by the way, also, if you would subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to turn the phone lines open a little bit later once I get going and rolling. And you'll see the number down below here in the scroll, in the ticker. Speaking of the ticker, my ticker is still ticking. But I'm going to be doing something tomorrow that I hadn't thought that I would do in quite some time. I'm going to go to a place to get dare I say it, my haircut and my beard cut. Now, I'm not a big fan of that. Mrs. BZ said, I have this individual who has seen you and would like to take a shot at making you look more modern, more streamlined, more in keeping with God's great plan. To which I replied something similar to, oh, and she also got me a certificate for Christmas to this place. Well, apparently this individual is really tough to get into, and I have an appointment for tomorrow at 12:30. And then I'll be back on Thursday. And now whether I look significantly different or whether I pretty much look the same, there are some things that I'm trying to clean up, but I guess we'll just have to see. Also, programming note for this coming Thursday night here in the Saloon. I've invited everybody from SHR and all their cousins and all their cousins' cousins and their dogs and their reptiles named Ralph to come to the show Thursday night. And we're just going to rip on everybody for everything, for every reason. So if you want to see a bunch of folks, the standard cast of characters from SHR, Thursday night, talking about anything and everything is fair game, then please come back. I'm bringing back tonight something that I haven't done in quite some time. That'll be the first segment. The second segment is Stegman. That's a part of a stegosaurus. I don't know if you knew that or not, but a stegment is just a certain, I guess, vertical slice of a stegosaurus. Now, in the second segment, see what I did there? There will be pretty much just news stories. A lot of stuff has occurred, and I want to go into those. And some of that stuff may be a bit didactic, but that's okay. You'll live. And then the third part of tonight's show is happy stories, because OMG, not OMB, OMG, are there a lot of stories tonight to talk about? It's like every night, everything around here is a target-rich environment, and you will never, ever, ever be able to keep on top of it. If you were to look, I'll put this up right now, so basically everybody can see. Yeah, I'm going to play the Bob Hope cut. I fucking love it. So you can look up here. Look, these are all the tabs. These are basically all the stories that I want to talk about tonight, and always make sure that you have more stuff than you need. And I invariably have a lot more stuff than I need. That's just kind of the way of the world. That's how it works. So I haven't done this in quite some time. So let's put this back up. I came across this maybe 5 years ago. And having done that, I came across it about 2 days ago. I loved it then, and I'm pretty much going to love it now, and I think you will too.
This is Mr. Montgomery. I met him a few weeks ago in New York.
Oh, how are you?
You live here?
Yes.
Or maybe you know what a zombie is.
When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
How horrible.
It's worse than horrible, because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats?
Well, that would be exactly like Democrats. Here's the weird thing about StreamYard. It did some different things to me the other day. Oh, wait, the comments are coming in. Phantom says, don't shave the bread. Phantom, you can be 100% guaranteed I will not be shaving bread tonight or tomorrow. But if you come back, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I did that backwards. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm a moron. If you come back on Thursday, you tell me if you can see a difference. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. So welcome to the Phantom. Also welcome to the Lost Wanderer. And I may have said happy endings. I meant to say happy stories, but if I said happy endings, I'm not going to a massage therapist after this. I'm simply drinking vodka. And Unleash Jeremy Hansen. Great to see you here tonight, Mission Ready Men. That was hilarious. It never gets old. That's right. It never gets old. One of the best cuts ever from Bob Hope. Most people, I believe, know who Bob Hope is. If you're younger, you don't, and I don't really care if you do or not. Anyway, happy ending is happy. Hey, wait. The first of the night right here. Jeremy Hansen says, happy ending is a happy story. Boy, is that ever true. Very true. And Phantom says, I mean beard. Okay, well, I do that. He said, first, don't shave the bread. And I affirmed that I was not going to shave the bread, but I may shave the beard a little bit. Not a whole bunch, but some. I'll wait and see. I will be looking in the mirror, and I will not let this chick go overboard. I hope not, but I won't let her go overboard. But wait, what's that you hear now?
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
Well, this is something we haven't done in quite some time. Anyway, we're going to HeyJackass.com, HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. Chicago, the city of big shoulders, big meat marketing shoulders. There was a great story, great book written about that. I can't think of the name of the book right now. Anyway, Shaq. I can tell this is going to be a really good show tonight. I'm going to mangle everything verbally, if I can, and I'm doing a great job to date. Illustrating Chicago values, March to date, shot and killed 12, shot and wounded 30. I'm already seeing a difference. Shot and wounded 30, total shot 42, total homicides 12. Week in progress, March 9th through March 15th, shot and killed 4, shot and wounded 13, total shot 17, total homicides 4. Year to date, shot and killed 68, shot and wounded 217, total shot 285, total homicide 76. So that means that in the city of Chicago, a person is shot every 5 minutes and 50 seconds. That's gone up since the last time that I did this. The last time I did it was 4 minutes, 10 seconds, something around there like that. And a person is murdered every 22 minutes and 5 seconds. It's going up now.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
So thanks for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. There are already a bunch of people in chat. So if you will, you can, with the wherewithal, jump into our sumptuous and palatial and resplendent chat room. It's still kind of woodsy right now. I told everyone that I would be changing it into a chat room that would blow your mind. It would make your mind absolutely go brainuless. But I haven't gotten there yet. Some people are still saying, I kind of like this one. It's good for right now, but I don't remember. Is it spring yet? Has spring has sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where the birdies is. Anyway, jump into our sumptuous, palatial, and just a wonderful chat room. You can meet all sorts of great and wonderful people, as the ones that I've already mentioned. So we'll start off with some stories.
This nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely.
And let's look at the U.S. debt clock. So far, it's standing at $36.5 trillion. That's a lot of cash. And there's already some serious GERP going on behind the scenes. One of them is the conflict with this Doge.
I will build a great wall. Stand by for news.
And here is the news. The big conflict is generally with Doge. Well, you can go, never mind. Move on, BZ. Okay. You know what I need. I know what I need. You know what I need. We all know what I need. So I can already tell it's going to be a bulbous show tonight. There will be, in fact, bulbosity unrestrained. But there is a conflict that I think we'll probably talk about more in depth on Thursday with the rest of the SHR media crew. And that is this savings. Now, if you want to find out if there's an individual or an organization that's remarkably transparent, it's Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. And if you want to see what's happening, I mean, this thing is updated all the time. Doge.gov. Doge, doge.gov, doge.gov. And you can go to that and you can see in real time, almost kind of, sort of, but not exactly like the debt clock. You can see it occurring right in front of our faces. You know, someday, I also recommend going here, usdebtclock.org, usdebtclock.org. You don't really have the time to sit and examine this right now, but I would highly recommend going there and just watch and look at the numbers in detail. And the way this website manages to break everything down in a shockingly obvious fashion that nobody is really paying attention to. Here's the conflict, and everybody is responsible. Everybody is equally repugnant on this. Okay, so we're attempting to save money by way of Doge. Simultaneously, however, Republicans and Democrats are not on a can we stop the fucking spending binge? So on one hand, you have, Doge is doing a great idea. And the other hand is, oh, look at all the extra money that we get to spend. I'm telling you, that's the mindset in DC these days. And I've said this before. I discovered this working in government. I worked 41 years in law enforcement. Some of that was in kind of an administrative arena, I guess you could say. Because when I was a supervisor in various venues, I had to come up with a budget. And what I was told in no uncertain terms is, if I, as a budget analyst, if I give you X number of thousands of dollars for your budget unit, you better spend it, because if you don't spend it, the assumption will be next year you don't need it. So if I, as our budget analyst, and everybody had a DBC, a department budgetary coordinator, and if your DBC says you get you at EVOC, you at the range, you in patrol, I'm giving you X number of thousands of dollars. Don't go past it, but don't go way underneath. That's government. That's the way it's been for probably thousands of years, since before there were cavemen and women. And Stegosaurus. The plural, I think, is Stegosauri, if I'm not mistaken. I had that yesterday, although it got better. Let's look at the comments right now. And in the comments, Jeremy Hansen said, it feels like spring. Huh. Oh, by the way, Jeremy Hansen said, did you visit the Kettle One refueling team before the show? Before the show? No. There's my obvious answer. Cost overruns on the new chat room. Oh, damn it. Shit, I wish you hadn't brought that up. So, wait, I'll be government just for a second. What cost overruns? There are no cost overruns. I don't know what cost overruns are. I have no idea. There, see, I did a great improv of government. Also, Cheetah says, so awesome, Doge is great. I'm buying the dip Dogecoin Doge as well. I, being a moron, I don't know exactly what that is. As Cheetah also said, it is an astronomical amount of debt, almost beyond measure, almost beyond human kin. But I said in government, at least the government in which I encountered it, this is how you deal with a budget. But I also went to emphasizingly, in an emphatic emphasis sort of way, is that a budget cut in DC from one fiscal year to the next is considered this. Let's say in your budget unit in DC, you're given $1 billion. And then next fiscal year, if you don't get more than $1 billion, that's considered a budget cut. So the same amount of money from one fiscal year to the next, if it's not increased, that's termed a budget cut. And that's one of the biggest things that you absolutely have to understand about DC, because it's true. Now for a little didactic kind of stuff right now here.
Thank you. Article 2 of the Constitution.
How about a little lesson for the people on the left?
States that the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. In other words, it is the president that defines the executive branch. When you read this language, it says that no court may take over that role. No court may define or limit the scope of the duties of an official of the executive office of the president, the people who work in the executive office. I think that what your amendment does is a violation of separation of powers, and it's a violation of Article 2 of the Constitution.
Here's one thing that it's going to be desperately important to solve. And I have no answer. If there's anyone who happens to be a constitutional scholar or knows, send me a link, send me a message on X. I'm at BZ's Saloon. I do not know the answer, but we're going to have to determine one way or the other how it is that a federal court in a given district can stop everything from happening all across the nation, not just in the district in which the court is ruled by a particular federal judge. How is it that a federal judge can stop everything all across the United States, their district, and all the other federal districts as well? I don't believe that's even remotely constitutional, but that gets back to Thug's Law. And I won't be able to finish this before the break because we are going to have to take a break down at the bottom of the hour. But Thug's Law is this, and that's how DC operates. That's how most of politics operates. And Thug's Law, particularly with regard to the Democrats, and don't think that the Republicans don't try to make sure that this applies to them in certain cases. Thug's Law is this: what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine, unless you're strong enough to stop me. Now, I speak leftist, so I'll translate. What that means is, generally, Democrats and leftists don't give one dribbling, ass-pustule-ridden fuck about the law. Because unless there's someone there to stand in front of them who has and possesses legal standing to stop them, and or the money, or the wherewithal, or the courage to stop them, then they will not be stopped. And it takes people with balls and hanging huevos to put up the hand and say, we've had enough, and sue their asses in court. And that's where lawfare comes from. So the judges, district judges, are going to continue to do this and levy laws, and in courts of appeal when they don't like something that isn't sufficiently leftist. And they're going to issue edicts. Because when you do the background into these ass fucks, these leftist judges in federal courts, you discover a rather amazing but contiguous thing, and that is this. They're all predominantly aligned with leftist and Democrat organizations. They've donated. They're doing all of that. So when a judge has the temerity to tell you that, oh, I am absolutely, I'm not partisan in any way whatsoever. I don't care who they are. Enforce the law with equanimity and with federal judges in districts that generally will not be occurring. From Cheetah, then we're going to go to a break. Doge is the crypto token for Doge coin. And also, she's been a great update from Liz Cheney. Yeah, that's very true. And Cheetah, we're breaking out the U.S. Constitution. As a teacher of mine said, let's get wild. And finally, before we hit the break, Cheetah says, you know, it is in fact bullshit. It's Thug's Law. If the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't stop the lower federal courts, my point exactly, Congress can. They can. They have the possibility. It is within their reach. But the biggest question of all, will they? So as I said earlier, Doge, saving money, Congress is going to say, oh my God, look at all that extra coin jangling around in our purse. It's not our money. So we'll do any damn thing we want to spend it. Absolutely. Right now. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson. coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. First half hour down the can. I am glad to see everyone here. Looks like we've got about 30 plus people in at least the portion that I can see. Thanks to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. If you would subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel, we're just a smattering of people away, subscribers, from being able to make that next step in the SHR Media YouTube channel, where they kind of sort of think that, well, we'll screw with them a little yet, a little bit, not as much once we see that there are at least 500 people that are interested in listening to their content. And that to me is a rather important step. And if, like I say, if you would, please do that. Jeremy Hansen said the bureaucracy is getting smashed. I'm loving it. And Cheetah, really disturbing U.S. Supreme Court decision ordering the allocated money be spent on some of the USAID stuff. That is extremely disturbing. And the people went, Barrett, Roberts, went on that. And the people who dissented, it was a 5-4 decision. Every dissenter was conservative. And then, it makes... Are all the people that were selected because they're conservative? Is that their way of revolting? Of course, many of their decisions are precisely that. But it makes me wonder, as they were during the nominational process, that they were doing their very level best to make sure we don't fall one way or the other. And are they doing this to show that they are not falling one way or the other? Cheetah, by the way, used to be an attorney. He says, I don't keep up with this stuff from a lawyer's perspective anymore, as the federal district court injunctions. You nailed it. All of those courts are political like crazy. And just, it's like when people say, oh, it's not about the money. Yeah, it's about the money. When we're not political, oh, yeah, especially with regard to judges. They are political. How can they not be? Oh, this is very important. Mission Ready Men said, yes, audio and video are coming through 5x5. Thank you very much. Thank you very kindly. I greatly appreciate it. Let's continue with this, where we're being given a little bit of a constitutional update. Yeah, okay, maybe a hair didactic, but we occasionally do need it, as in tonight.
The gentlelady yield?
Yes, I will.
It's always good when the constitutionalist specialist comes in. It helps us all. So what you're saying is that the bill codifies Article 2 for purposes of the court being reminded and instructed of their limitations, and the amendment would undo that.
That's exactly right, because then it would imply that a federal court could in fact define or limit the scope of the duties of those individuals who work within the executive office of the president. And that is not a federal court's role. That is for under Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution, that power is vested in a president of the United States of America.
Thank you.
Would the gentlelady further yield for another question?
Yes.
Your understanding is, with the current president or the last one or the next one, if we don't do something like this, realistically, the chief executive, president, would continue to have to answer a myriad of claims in up to not just 50 states, but multiple places in 50 states. And if that tactic was used, even more so than it may have been used in the past, that you would have a president having to use non-official funds to answer a series of cases alleged not to be that way. Is that true?
That's a convoluted question. Let's see how she handles it, Ms. Hageman. I think she's from Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the way that I read this, and I think that it's very clear, especially starting in 2017.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My big mistake. She replaced Liz Cheney in Montana.
When President Trump was sworn in the first time, that the courts have been used for nefarious purposes on a variety of issues. In fact, yesterday we had a hearing in our constitutional subcommittee about lawfare and how lawfare had been weaponized against President Trump, both while he was president as well as after his presidency. So again, I guess that I'm very skeptical of the idea that people are not willing to use lawfare to go after a current or former president. We've seen it over the last 9 years in many different instances. But the president is the one who gets to define the limit and scope of the duties of the personnel within his office. That is very clear from Article 2 of the Constitution.
And that's true. Now, again, I think I'm going to go make up words here. Didacticism. Let's be a little didactic. And let's go back and learn a little bit more from history, if we will, from here. Stop. When you put these up, they don't always click the unmute. So what I'm going to have to do is reload this baby and then stop, unmute it. Now we should be able to hear. Let's start.
Tariffs once made America so rich that we were able to launch the Spanish-American War without bank debt. It was during the presidency of William McKinley, and he imposed a near 50% tariff on all imports. And it not only resulted in a massive surplus, but America would emerge as the manufacturing center of the world. American steel, American oil, American automotive, and the American economy, American manufacturing had become the envy of the world, as American protectionism paired with American innovation had unleashed something the world had never seen. And by the time the Spanish-American War broke out, America had accumulated a massive surplus, and Congress immediately appropriated $50 million for the war, billions of dollars today. And when Spain saw this, when they saw how much money America had waiting in reserve, they knew they were going to lose before the war had even began. And the federal income tax didn't exist until 1913. So America got this surplus through tariffs. America became the manufacturing center of the world with tariffs. And it was all done without taxing the American people. And this is why I write books on how the banking system was conquered, fake news, and how information is controlled.
Okay, that's an ad. I don't need that at this point. But let's continue. One of the biggest things that occurred, now he said 1913 is when taxes were levied. Yes, but, and if you want to see a tax revolt, all you have to do is treat individuals like a business, and you'd have to file your quarterlies. If you had to file quarterlies like a business, you would see how wholly revoltingly you are raped in taxes every quarter. In 1943, the American Congress passed the Withholding Act, or words similar to that. That was absolutely brilliant in its evil scheme to make sure that those taxes were scraped out of your paycheck before you even saw it, and therefore, being the blithering idiots that we frequently find ourselves to be, we didn't even notice them until you somehow magically, mystically end up having to owe more taxes. It was brilliant in its scheme, absolutely brilliant. let's go just for this for a moment. I threw this in, and I have a wonderful segment lead into it.
Leftists are dangerously insane. Courtesy of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show and the SHR Media Network.
Here's a trans activist. Now, X, which is usually fairly forthcoming in terms of not censoring things now as opposed to Twitter. It turns out that trannies are some of the most violent individuals known to man currently in the United States of America. Their proportion of the population is ridiculously small. And there's the rub. See what I did there? The tranny community would have you believe that they are everywhere. And the numbers of the transsexuals in the military, for example, were way, way overinflated under Lloyd Austin and Joe Biden. I'm sorry, Joe Vegetable. Thank you very much. But they are some of the most violent perpetrators for their population size in proportion. They are ridiculously violent. So, adult content, yeah, we want to show the adult content. A Portland trans activist, by the way, Andy No. I don't know if you can see this very closely. If you follow somebody on X, I would recommend Andy No. He's the guy that had his ass handed to him because he was doing something no more complicated than covering Antifa in Portland and in Seattle. And they hated him, and they targeted him, and they tried to kill him. They hit him numerous times. At Mr. Andy No, NGO, at Mr. Andy No. If you want to know what's happening generally in the Pacific Northwest, you'll find a lot of things there at his X feed. And he writes, a Portland trans activist named Adam Matthew Lansky has been federally charged. Wait. Thank you. Over the firebombing and shooting attacks on the Tesla store in Salem, Oregon. Lansky uses the alias Allison Tesla and makes trans pornographic content under that name. His LinkedIn says he's the sound engineer at the far, far, far left First Congregational United Church of Christ in Portland, which has absolutely nothing to do with the church and has nothing to do with Christ or God. Lansky's social media is filled with graphic content of himself. He is also obsessed with firearms and weapons. So let's see what X didn't want you to see. This is him with the device outside of Tesla, and he's getting federally prosecuted. Oh, look, doing something that he really enjoys. This trans unit and trans units like him, it, Z, Zer, whatever the hell you want to call them, they are absolutely reprehensible. And like most leftists, they are incredibly, incredibly violent. It's not the people on the right that are the violent ones. It's the people on the left. And historically, they always have been. How about a little bit more didacticism? Want to see a murder, as Benny Johnson says? This is from Steve Miller. Stephen Miller is a great explainer and a skewerer. That was tough to say. A skewerer of leftists and the American media maggots.
Room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one.
And like I say, here comes your civics lesson. People, leftists, and American media maggots, because you're pretty much ignorant.
One man, and the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for.
And frequently, as I am wont to say, the fourth branch of government is the deep state. And people think, oh, deep state, oh, conspiracy stuff. Deep state is Q. Deep state is... No, deep state are the assholes that have been in any given branch, agency, organization for a long time. They know how to manipulate it to the nth degree. And primarily, they're leftists, and they will work it only to their benefit. Because as far as they're concerned, directors, presidents, representatives, senators, they come and go, but they're the ones vested with the true power, and they believe that, and they believe in absolutely wielding all that power, just like the EPA, just like CARB, just like the California Air Resources Board. Continue.
For radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders.
Thank you.
Which are the will of the whole American people. People in this room.
And that's so end of that particular lesson for right now. But I'm going didactic tonight because these are things that people, I use this show as a means for entertaining me. I get a charge out of doing this stuff. I'm 75. I'm going to cack tomorrow. So while I'm here, I'm going to have a good time doing this as long as it amuses me. And if it happens to amuse you in the meantime, all along this particular journey, that's great. That's wonderful. I'd love to have an audience like Joe Rogan. Never going to happen. But I just enjoy doing this because I enjoy doing it. Plus, I also like to use this show as an archive of what's happening at the time that these things are occurring, like March 11th, 2025. If you ever, for whatever reason, want to go back and find out, hey, what happened right around that time? My goal, part of my goal, is to show and illustrate to you all of these things. And they were happening along this time. And then sometimes things come to the forefront where I feel this is so important, for lack of a better word, I guess, a lesson that I need to play, including this one. Oh, please. Listen.
And to date, nobody has been able to show that there is a law for the average American citizen working day in and day out to pay an income tax.
But We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education put a full-page ad in the USA Today on...
Okay, stop. How many people have gone to federal prison because they say that there is no law indicating that we have to pay taxes? Listen to the former IRS agent who I would suspect would likely know. Now, am I saying outright, BZ, you quoted don't pay your taxes? That's up to you. But this show is all about we are absolutely ass fucked if we can't ask questions as a nation.
July 7th, 2000. And within the body of that ad was a $50,000 challenge for anyone that could show the law. And to me, $50,000 is a lot of money. So I went after that and did the research based on the fact that I thought, let's put this baby to bed. I'm hearing all these rumors. I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'll answer these people's questions that are asking me, and then I'll win this $50,000. And, based on the research that I did throughout the year 2000 and that I'm still doing, I have not found that law. I've asked Congress. We've asked a lot of people in the IRS commissioners, helpers. They can't answer, because if they answer, the American people are going to know that this whole thing is a fraud.
There is no law. There is no law that requires the average American worker in the private sector to pay a direct unapportioned tax on their labor and compensation for services. There is no law.
I really expected that, of course, there's a law that you can point to.
Okay, let me also point to this and stop, because the people that will be aiming at you or me for presenting this or sharing this as more information are going to say these people are the same ones that anti-tax people trot out every time. Okay, you go pick up that $50,000 if you're so wise. That $50,000, by the way, still stands. Go.
In the law book, the code that requires you to file a tax return. Of course there is. Maybe I don't know what it is right then as he was speaking to me, but sure. So naively, I agreed to go off and research it and get back to him.
Thank you.
3.5 months later, I was at that point where I couldn't find the statute that clearly made a person liable, at least not me and most people I know. And I had no choice in my mind except to resign.
I had to leave the IRS because I presented evidence that I had accumulated indicating that the agency was violating the law and violating people's rights.
Oh, damn you, like Charlton Heston, damn you to hell.
And I asked the agency for a response to my sincere concerns.
Guess what?
And the answer I got was that they would not respond to my concerns and that they would provide me with the paperwork necessary to tender my resignation.
You can look through the statutes and look for the law that requires you to pay. And when you do that, you can't identify a law that requires the average person in America who earns a wage and works in private business to pay an income tax.
American citizens, along with the foundation, have been asking the IRS to specifically provide them with the underlying legal foundation upon which they administer and enforce the personal income tax laws in our country.
At the national level, when people would attempt to contact somebody of a much higher authority, say the commissioner, same kind of thing. They would get answers that were in effect non-answers.
You have to understand that an agency which will unlawfully impose a tax that doesn't exist is not going to care. If we, the people, don't know what our rights are, they're not going to tell us.
And that's best for everyone. When you are ignorant of your surroundings, then don't be surprised that you will be, in fact, taken advantage of, not just by a few people, not just by a small cadre of individuals, but by essentially everyone that stands to profit from you on a federal level, on a state level, on a county level, on a city level. You are nothing but an individual to be turned upside down and fleeced in terms of taxes. It's just not ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. But up to this point, no one has particularly said, I'm kind of interested in making sure that whatever it is that we're doing in the United States, we're doing it lawfully. We're not fleecing the people with using their hard-earned American taxpayer dollars, pissing it away. And then, by the way, we're going to do our very level best to make sure that you pay more taxes. Because that's what everybody wants to do, right? They want to pay more taxes. To all the leftists that say, and this is my standard line, the American taxpayer, individuals, organizations, big corporations, and millionaires and billionaires are not paying their fair share. Okay, pause. To which I say, my reply is, okay, then if this is the hill upon which you wish to die, then go ahead and answer me this. Why is it that you individually, or maybe a whole bunch of yous, haven't all gotten together and pulled out your checkbooks or your Venmo or whatever it is that you're using to pay taxes, absent and beyond your paycheck, why aren't you writing additional checks at least once a year, right around April 14th, to the federal government, to the county government, to the city government, to the state government? If you're all about paying taxes, no one is stopping you from paying more of them. Absolutely no one. And of course, what I get in return from that is, as you would expect, notoriously crickets.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. The first hour gone. The second hour is right here. It happens to be 9:03 on the far left coast in Pacific time. Oddly enough, I'm just about this far from Mountain Time or Central Time. But where I am in NOFE, Idaho, is just barely inside Pacific time. So it's 9:03 here. It's 11:03 on Central Time, and it is already midnight 03, and it's 1746.723 sub cluster 4 paragraph 28 in Bolivian time, but I never could quite understand Bolivian time. We were talking and showing right here about how income taxes, I'm presenting this information. I'm not saying don't pay your income taxes, but I provide information to you. And as I indicated before, that's part of what my goal is to do now, is to show you with the technology that I have that asking questions and posing questions is not illegal and unlawful. And the stuff that I bring you is for you to decide what you're going to do with this. But the ability of me to do this is extremely, highly important. We're running out of time, so I believe that I am going to move on. See, this with the new StreamYard, See how, let's see if I put this on the stage and then I take it off the stage. See how it puts me to the entire perimeter right there. I kind of like it so that you can see the background. That changed, which is just, I don't know. That's kind of weird. Here's something else that I think bears repeating. Tucker Carlson is talking about a particular senator who is attempting to block the release of the JFK files. Let's put this up so that we're ready to play it. And you always, people, the thing that I must emphasize is never stop asking questions. Never stop questioning authority, because frequently authority is infinitely more stupid than you are and infinitely less informed than you are. But Tucker Carlson says, hey, why is this individual, and like it says up here, I don't know if you can read it or not, try to guess who the senator is on the Intelligence Committee who is trying to block release of the JFK files. So you have to ask, okay, when, as I said before, when people say it isn't about the money, it's always about the money. So also, cui bono, who benefits, Latin for who benefits. Now, who benefits can obviously be in terms of lucre, but it can also be in terms of power and control. Or what are you trying to hide? Let's let Tucker Carlson talk. This is about 3 minutes, if you will.
Be the FBI, could be the CIA. Okay, so I've always thought that. And then in January, there was a scramble over who's going to get what jobs in the new administration. And at one point, there was someone who was being discussed for a job in the intel world, and a member of the SSCI, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Senate Intel Committee, went to the people making the decision and said, you cannot hire this person because this person will be certain to push for the release of the JFK files. So this is in 2025, less than 2 months ago, and you have a sitting member of the United States Senate whose main goal is to keep those files secret. And then you have to ask yourself, why is that? Yeah. Exactly. Why? Yeah. Why?
Were they even alive? Who do you think so far? People in chat, people that are listening live, or if you're watching in podcast, ask yourself the question, who are they talking about? Who is this?
Of course, no one was alive. It was 62 years ago. I know. And by the way, the institution, no one can even tell you who the CIA director was. And who, do you remember the name of the CIA director? John McCone, I think.
I was 13 in 1963. I lived through the JFK assassination. We got sent home from public school, shipped back on buses and sent home.
1963, but that person is like completely lost to history except a specialist. And the CIA has already been through 50 years ago, the Church Committee hearings, 1975, where we sort of know that they were assassinating people, dosing people with acid, all this stuff. It's like the CIA has already been discredited.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that 6 weeks ago, a member of the United States Senate was trying to keep someone out of a job in order to keep these files secret, that is to protect the CIA, I don't believe that for a second.
So wait a minute. Here's the part I don't
So
understand.
who's that person exerting the pressure?
Who is it? Are uniquely qualified to get this answer, because one of us can call the president of the United States right now and ask him, and the other one is me. So why don't you know?
That's a great question.
It's the only kind I ask.
So what I brought to it was the knowledge that a member of the Senate Intel Committee, I'm not guessing, called over and said, you cannot appoint this person.
So why don't you expose that person, first of all, so we can start chasing
Tom
after
Cotton
him or
of
her?
Arkansas did that.
Like me, did you go, what? Tom Cotton of Arkansas?
Tom Cotton.
Yes, correct.
And did you ask him?
I haven't. No, I haven't asked him.
What the hell's going on with you?
I'd like to. And
kind of makes people suspicious of you, by the way.
Go
because
ahead.
if you know that Tom Cotton said you can't pick this person
That
because
is correct.
And then you didn't go to him and find out why?
Well, I need to sit down with him. I'm not sure that he'll do an interview with me.
With you?
I'm waiting.
You are like the spirit animal of that administration.
No, but it's a fair look. It's a fair question. It's a totally fair question, and the answer is I hadn't thought to do that. And there's a lot going on, and I've been distracted, and I've kind of been.
Now I think you're part of the deep state. And just like that.
Think that I probably wouldn't be saying any of this. I was part of the deep state.
Unless.
Okay, stop. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that you know? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure that you know who it is that you're dealing with in terms of your Congress critters? Do you know? Are you certain? And will you not constantly be surprised when things are unfolded before your eyes? Let's continue. Oh my God, I've got so many happy stories, but I've got some regular stories that we need to be aware of. Just like, God, will I get to happy stories? I'm going to try to, but the stuff that I have lined up to me is critically important to make sure that I impart to you. Listen.
Hey guys, Jeremy Harrell here, LFA TV. I don't know if you heard this, but over the weekend, it was reported that Kash Patel, the new director of the FBI, he wants his own private third-party security team who is primarily the ones responsible for keeping him safe because he doesn't trust the security detail that is legally afforded to him from the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Stop. Now, you probably know, or you should be aware, that the FBI director, the ADIC, and all others, most of the people on the 7th floor, if they're sufficiently high in elevation in terms of importance in the FBI and Mahogany Row on the 7th floor, that's where all the important, I won't even say that word, people live and work. Are you surprised that Kash Patel has decided, and the FBI customarily affords its own people, its own protectees, its own protection? You know, the FBI, you may not be aware, has its own police force, primarily at Quantico. When I went there, they're the ones that protected Quantico. And they have different units for all sorts of different tasks and exercises, ranging all the way from HRT to personal protection. Because they don't want to outsource personal protection. They're the FBI. They feel that they can do it best. Now, let me stop here just for a second and let's go. Let's go back to, I want to catch up with comments. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen says, transparency need to be Trump's greatest achievement. And Ricky Robinson, good evening. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I'm thinking it's Pelosi and her daddy had something to do with it. And Ricky Robinson said the 13th Amendment made it unconstitutional. And as a reaction, Jeremy Hansen said, Tom Cotton. To which Ricky Robinson said, Tom Cotton refuted this today. And Mission Ready Men say he's denying it. And the reason that I put this up there is because these are decisions for you to make. And you also have to ask yourself again, cui bono, and can you trust these people? I am in the category where my trust is primordially at an end. In his own words, Tucker has my number and we texted recently. He could have just asked me. Now, I'm guessing that that's the response from Tom Cotton. Okay, then Tom Cotton go on his show and refute it. It's simple. And that dude wrote a song about my show. Huh, okay. That's scary. Yeah, it is. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen says, I trust Tucker more. Well, Tucker was fired because he was speaking truth to power and saying things that Fox did not want him to say. So I put these out here for you to look at, digest, and determine whether or not you believe it. I have been completely disabused of trust and confidence. So my job as I see it, and again, you can call me a tinfoil wearing fat fuck. You know, I am bulbosity unrestrained. Couldn't care less. I've been insulted by professionals, and mostly nobody here is a professional. But I present things so that you can see and hear them. Let us continue.
So I know there's a lot of people out there mad that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel didn't just hit the ground running with indictments and arrests, but I can tell you with 100% surety that they are working on these things. Be a little patient. It's been 7 weeks. Be patient. Let them get this stuff figured out. Because as of right now, Kash Patel can't even do his job properly because he's afraid of being assassinated from within the bureau that he is appointed and confirmed to be the leader of.
You know what I say to that? It only takes one. And the Reaver of Common Sense also said, hey, do you think Tom Cotton would come out and admit it? I don't. Jeez. I'm from Zephron. I have alien beings from a dying planet destined to make this world their own, my friends. And even the aliens on Zephron are saying, where they used to drive by and land every once in a while, they're saying, fuck it, we're not standing on Earth ever again until you guys fix this shit. Here's another story that I'd like to portray. USAID, I'm sorry, I said it the wrong way. USAID is around to destroy the country.
And that they're now sort of, I guess, they're taking the flood the zone approach in their own resistance mindset. And they're now suing every agency. It's metastasizing. Just about an hour ago, Democracy Forward, whose CEO and met with Chuck Schumer this morning to talk about how they were going to use litigation to, defeat President Trump. So that's a buried lead right there. But they're now suing the Department of Labor, saying that, DOJ is trying to do what they're doing there. So it's really, I think, an interesting sort of reframe back and forth over the idea that what they're trying to do with DOJ is some like authoritarian, as Jen Psaki says, hostile takeover of the United States. It's not. It's what President Trump was elected for. And it's not just the cutesy waste, fraud, and abuse about the musicals. It's about the full-blown, full-scale weaponization of government agencies to destroy this country.
That's true. Obvious, just so obviously beyond reproach. Here's another thing that this is a slightly different statement from the one that I played last night. Or excuse me, not last night, last week. But again, bears repeating. This is about our good friends. This is Jeffrey Sachs, and he's speaking to the EU Parliament. They don't want to hear the things that he has to say. Go ahead.
When the Soviet Union ended in 1991, the United States literally believed this is now a U.S. world, and we will do as we want. The wars in the Middle East, Serbia, the wars in Africa, these are wars that the United States led and caused. And this has been true for more than 40 years. Europe has not had any foreign policy during this period that I can figure out. No voice, no unity, no clarity, only American loyalty. Please don't have American officials as head of Europe. Have European officials. Have a European foreign policy. You're going to be living with Russia for a long time, so please negotiate with Russia.
And that's my point. Part of what's going on is President Trump, who himself is not a warmonger, is taking Europe seriously and is taking the screwing over of the United States seriously as well. So if Europe, you wish to complain, make sure that all of your things in your own backyard are taken care of appropriately. And all the social welfare luxuries that you've once been crowing about, you may and likely should, in my estimation, you should be paying the freight on your own. This is also an important aspect. We're going to jump back and forth with the comments because I really enjoy people in chat sharing comments, and I will share them. If he's smart, Cotton would be honest. We'll know soon enough if not. As far as trusting Tucker, he's drifted a bit too far into the sensationalism side once more. I don't trust either of them. Okay, good, important comment to make. I like that. That's why we're here. We're here to talk and discuss things. I think that's wonderful. But Europe is on one of the strangest paths I think I have ever seen. It's such a weird place to be. Now, let me see if I can find this. This just came out tonight, and I will have some comments about it. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Here we go. Let's place this up. I mean, this just came out tonight. This is from Axios. As I've said before, I try not to drive views to leftist organizations and websites in general, but sometimes they're the only ones that I find that have information that I need rapidly. To be honest, I try to drive things towards Breitbart because Google is still throttling the absolute crap out of Breitbart. And you know what? KLRN and SHR and all the people that are conservative, we know what that's like, don't we? We sure as shit do. Anyway, this is from Axios. U.S. resumes military aid as Ukraine backs a plan for a 30-day ceasefire stop. Okay, Vladimir, why is it that you were not 2 weeks ago Friday interested in any kind of a ceasefire? Did you not mind making sure that your people were still targets? Ukraine expressed readiness to accept a U.S. proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia. And again, I indicate this came out today, updated 5 hours ago. The two countries said in a joint statement at a key meeting between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia. Okay, there it goes. So a ceasefire, if they implement it, if they can agree and then make sure that it is done, would be a major diplomatic breakthrough in the 3-year war between Russia and Ukraine, but the Kremlin has yet to weigh in on the U.S. proposal. As it said, Marco Rubio, by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the ball is now in their court. We hope the Russians are going to reciprocate. So the ball is, in fact, in their court. But still, and all, this is a very strange situation that we have in Europe these days. It's a relationship. These are all negotiations between the United States, between Ukraine, between the EU and Europe and the UK. And they have to make it work and last. There's a big damn ocean between us and the EU and Europe and the UK. Ukraine is a hell of a lot closer. Russia is a hell of a lot closer than we are. So these are all about various and strange relationships. And sometimes relationships become toxic and they become abusive. And one side, the tendency, like domestic violence, for fuck's sake, one side can generally be abusive and toxic. And one side gives, the other continues to take, and then the kind of the expected gratefulness for all of that is absent. So then indignancy sets in, like us, we should be indignant. And then the abuser demands even more, like Europe. And as I've said, we fucking trained these people to do this. $350 billion in weapons, intelligence, communications, support for civilians in Ukraine, was a no strings attached event provoked and provided by the Biden regime. No audits. Okay? Big ass blank check. Just get it done. And then would it be surprising that somewhere along the way, Vladimir Zelensky said, "Oh, I didn't get 175 billion of it. I never got it. Where'd it go?" Then I played a video last week from an individual from Ukraine who said, by the way, if you go to certain supermarkets and you go to some rich Riviera countries, you'll find the people with the most money are those from Ukraine. Because what they're doing is they're selling that equipment, embiggening and enlarging their own little personal wallets and accounts. And then I said in response last week, oh, that's about as probative as giving that amount of money to, I don't know, Idi Amin, because he would make sure that it got to his people, wouldn't he? Of course. So then the body counts went up, and it's money, it's weapons with no thought to here. Just go ahead and take. What's the diplomacy? What's the strategy? What are you going to be doing with all of this money? My understanding, and I'm not even sure that I trust these figures. My understanding is that there are 1 million, possibly plus, people dead behind this. I would say easily over $1 trillion in infrastructure gone. Retired General Mark Milley has hitched his hat to J.P. Morgan Chase and BlackRock, who have all said that, hey, we're going into Ukraine to rebuild. And you think they would invest in Ukraine if they didn't think that there would be a shit ton of money coming back to them? And the answer is obviously yes. And so, like the abuser and the abused, it should come as no shock, like a domestic violence situation, that Zelensky disrespected American support because he was trained by the Biden regime to expect more, always more. And up to tonight, the newest information, he was an obstructionist in terms of peace. He wanted things his way. So, what did I say? Let me see if I even have this up here. I may have taken it down. Yeah, it's down. But what I essentially said was, war is profitable. War is always profitable. War will always be profitable. And the money is coming back to us. Business is good. Business is super, super good. So what happened is that after World War II, kind of the amount of time between World War II, where people were massive benefactors of the Marshall Plan, and the Cold War, up until that point, Europe was generally pleased and grateful for its liberation. And we attempted our very best at the time with the limited dollars that we had to restore what prosperity there could have been pulled out of that, because the people in Europe were of pretty much a similar mindset and of civilizational value similar to us. And so our tax dollars got thrown into that mix. And then there was something called the Washington Treaty of 1949. And that established NATO. Now, that was, if I'm remembering correctly, that was 12 nations. And initially, its goal was a collective defense. We've seen Russia. We saw what happened with Russia. Russia went in and kicked ass in Berlin. They went ahead of everybody else. They didn't care. And then, boom, East Berlin, West Berlin. What a joy that is. So that bad guy at the time was the Soviet Union. And just as General Schwarzkopf was right when he said, you're silly, stupid, and fattening if you think we need to stop right here. We need to keep going. General George Smith Patton, he of the pearl-handled revolvers, also said a very similar thing in 1945. He said, I've gotten to know the Germans. They got hoodwinked. They were stupid themselves, but they are a way more conciliatory group of individuals and the people surrounding them than the Soviet Union. 6 million Jews perished in Germany, in all the camps, Dachau, etc. But General Patton was sufficiently cogent to realize that we may have the discretion to push Germany back at this time because they're essentially demolished. The people that we should be considering in the future is Russia, the Soviet Union. And at the time, it wasn't called Russia. It was called the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. So trillions of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars were thrown into the kitty to try to rebuild Europe. It's time to take a break. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll be right back, and I will, if you'll be kind enough, I will regale you with a little bit more of a history lesson that, I don't know, maybe you needed, maybe you didn't. If you don't like it right now, you can go clean your parakeet cage, because I'm sure your parakeet is throwing bird seed all over everywhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and full discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It is the last half hour of the show. I will not be going into overtime. And the way it's going right now, me being the damn verbose idiot that I am, giving a history lesson, which you may challenge at any point, should you wish. It looks like I won't be getting to happy stories tonight, but wait, there's more. Likely this Thursday night, I have asked all the people from SHR to come on, and we're just going to hash anything and everything that we possibly can. Put our teeth in it, get veins between our teeth, let the blood run into our beard. Speaking of beard, I want to remind everybody, I will either be a moron or I will look nicer come Thursday because I'm getting my hair trimmed and my beard trimmed tomorrow at 12:30. We'll see how that goes. If it goes, so far it goes. So either you can point at me and laugh and say you're an even bigger fool than you were before, or you can say something similar to, oh, that BZ, what a wonderful, oh, look at his luxurious thatch, his beard, so more cultured and refined. That's what I hope you say. I'm not looking forward to being a bozo in public. 33 people listening live. Thanks to you for listening live. Thanks to KLRN for carrying this, simulcasting the show either live now or later on. I greatly appreciate that. I was talking about Europe, how weird Europe is and how much pushback there is. Everybody is pushing back against President Trump. And we were talking about Europe, and we were talking about the transition between post-World War II and essentially the Cold War. So the Marshall Plan went into effect, and tons of money went into Europe to reconstruct it. We threw an ass ton, that's the proper language, of military bases all over. American companies went in to try to curry favor and investments and all of that stuff. And we lavished investments in the new institutions like NATO, created in 1949. We paid, I hope you're sitting down, because I researched this stuff that I'm churning and spewing out of my two little horizontal lippuses these days tonight. We paid for Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum and built her a new $700 million NATO headquarters in Brussels, because that's how much we loved it. So here's what we got back. More. They just wanted more. More. By the way, more. Did I say more as M-O-A-R? More? M-O-R-E? More? Give us more. Feed us. Because just like bears, people say, oh, don't feed the bears. It makes them lazy, and it makes them fat, and then it makes them angry and silly and stupid and fattening when you stop feeding them and then expect them to go out and fish on their own. Just give them the damn fish. Don't teach them how to fish. Europe, we're tired of being pissed all over. And no president up to Trump has said anything remotely similar to, I'll see your stupidity and I'll raise you, cutting off an assload of funds. And how do you think of those tariffs? What do you think of reciprocal tariffs? What do you think of the fact that we're done getting bent over by the EU or any other country for that matter? And we've decided that we are standing on our own 2 feet, and it is beyond time for you to start standing on your own 2 feet. Because you take our money, you take our largesse, and then call us dipshits and idiots for not having the great social umbrella networks that you enjoy because of the American taxpayer funding and by the sweat of their brow and their hard-earned American taxpayer dollars shipping it over to Europe. And we've already seen what happened to Ukraine. They can't account for it, nor are they interested in doing anything but yelling and screaming like little petulant children in the White House. We need more. We need more, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to even conjure up a ceasefire. Not 2 weeks ago, not that Friday. Now it's changed. We'll see if that actually goes into effect. So, and this was glorious. Just as Trump, I think it was in 2017, embarrassed the shit out of NATO members, particularly Germany, in front of their faces, saying that we could have given you American fuel, American gas, and then you become beholden to Russia via Gazprom, and expect us to pay for the gas that you sup at from Russia, and then complain about Russia. Oh, Russia oppressive, Russia bad, Putin bad. You can't have it both ways. And just as Trump embarrassed the crap out of the people at that little table, I wish I had the video, but I played it before. You've seen it before on the show if you watched the show. What happened is Vice President J.D. Vance went to the Munich Security Conference and once again highlighted their hypocrisy. They're tyrannical. They censor. They don't believe in free speech. And he confronted them to their little faces about that. Oh, not going to get invited back. Not going to get a Christmas card from them, J.D. Vance, likely. So when you feed the bear, expect that the bear will not be appreciative and will only want more. So it's to the, as Eisenhower said, the American military industrial complex, because we shipped all our munitions and older hardware, weapons to Ukraine. And then people were complaining, wait, you're depleting our contingent of weapons with which to defend ourselves. Oh, look, we'll have to make more. So all the money, not all, a portion of the money that got sent to Ukraine is making a big old boomerang U-turn and coming back. And the military industrial complex here is saying, oh, well, we need to ramp things up and start making more stuff for us. Because what happens if China, what happens if Russia, better start churning that stuff out. So do you remember what Zelensky said in the Oval Office? He pointed, bad ambassadorial juju, to which the Ukrainian female ambassador was cradling her head in her hands going, oh, did you just call J.D. Vance a bitch, Suka? And apparently, oh yeah, he did. And then he to J.D. Vance and President Trump says something similar to, I need my money and I need it now, and I'm not going to consider a ceasefire. And Trump says, well, you don't have the cards and you're gambling with World War III. Well, who's gambling with World War III? Would it be all the warmongers and war hawks that are in Europe that are talking chip, 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 chip? But what happens when it's time for you to put up the cash? And what happens when the little spigot, as I've said before any number of times, gets turned righty-tighty and the dollars stop? We're tired of being abused by every motherfucking buddy. And that's why I said everybody is doubling down against Trump. Everybody. Here domestically and across the rest of the planet as well. So you can read Trump like a book. If there's one thing that Bill Maher and any number of select and exclusive limited number of leftists and perhaps Democrats are saying, Trump will tell you what he's thinking pretty much all day long. And that's true. He's not secretive about pursuing some kind of a demilitarized foreign policy. So then I think we have to ask ourselves, just like I posit the questions to you, you make the answers, you decide. I hope that's part and parcel of why you watch the show. But part of that is and we must be asking this question, is a NATO membership, is that viable, valid in 2025 right now? Does it make sense to have a ton of our forces there? like a domestic relationship. Should Europe be, our ex? We share kids, so we can't screw things up too much for the kids. And maybe we can become, friendly exes. We can visit now and then. And I agree to pick up the kids over here, and you agree to pick up the kids over here. And we can continue to trade with reciprocal tariffs because we're no longer going to take it up the ass with a white hot piece of rebar. Those days, I think, are done. But we don't have to sleep together anymore. And it's, excuse me, you Euro sluts who have put us there. The Euro trash. How do you like the illegal invaders that have invaded your countries all across the boneyard land when you invited them in, predominantly by way of Angela Merkel because of GAUPs, guilty, overeducated white people? We feel so guilty from World War II. Well, you should. But give us everybody that's going to fuck up our countries to no end, and we'll have absolutely no interest whatsoever in compliance with borders, language, or culture. How's that working out for you right now, these days? Probably not real well. And then the deal is, like Trump, everybody is doubling down against Trump. But what we've discovered is that frequently, Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, has been frequently correct about his assessment of the world and the United States as well, and our relationships with ourselves and everyone in the rest of the planet and all throughout the various countries. And how about if Europe decides that, hey, you want to go ahead and poke Russia? You go ahead. You want to go ahead and poke China? You go ahead. If you want to be on Russia's fuel tit for the rest of your life and be beholden to them, you go ahead. Hashtag consequences. I was reading an article by a guy, I think a brigadier general that lives around here, Blaine Holt. And he wrote something similar to caution, danger, Will Robinson, because if you're thinking as a rebound, well, I don't like the U.S. and I don't like Russia. Well, if you're going to make a rebound, don't look at China. That's really, really stupid to do. Let's go into chat right now. And, this is funny. Raver of Common Sense. Is anybody upset over Rosie O'Donnell's move to Ireland? Yeah, I'm sure there are literally tens of people that are upset with her move to Ireland. I understand it's a lovely country. It's leftist as shit, but I'm sure it's a lovely country. Cheetah says, thanks for the show. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Ricky Robinson says, if he's smart, Cotton would be honest. Oh, I've already seen that. I've already played that. Let me go down. Damn it, Jim, go down. And Reaver of Common Sense, is there a gauntlet I can smack you with to challenge with? And Unleash Jeremy. The proverbial digital gauntlet. Okay. All right. Uppercut. Okay. All right. I'm taking my lumps. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Unleash Jeremy Hansen says it's very refreshing hearing reality these days. And also Jeremy Hansen says, I've been trying to think of a really good, valid reason to stay in NATO, except there isn't one to stop China from sliding into our position. See, that's the thing. That's what I really enjoy about doing the radio show, about doing this. Yeah, It's really damn obvious. I'm not going to get into happy stories. Or probably even, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories. Even before I get into happy stories, and I can tell I'm not going to get into them. But I just really enjoy doing this show, putting stuff out there, and you can agree with me or you can disagree with me. That's great. That's America. That's what we do. We ask questions and then we disagree. And then we have some witty repartee back and forth and we discuss things, unlike Democrats, leftists, and globalists who just want you, and the EU and NATO and Ukraine, who just want you to shut up, bend over, grab your ankles, deeper, harder, faster. Let's see all your cash right now on the table. Oh, hey, that's a nice living room you have right there. What about that puffy chair? Let's turn it upside down for all the change. Hey, nice sofa you have. Let's take all the cushions off of that, turn it upside down. Let's get that changed too, because we need it. So, yeah, my guess is this Thursday night with the rest of the SHR troop, we probably will have a ton of happy stories. But see, this is a reason that I just love doing this show, is that I get to bring things to you. I get to show things to you, and I get to opine, as a defense attorney said one day, and that's how I came to love that word. He said, Detective BZ, after having sat on the stand for this period of time and opining about the facts, I did my level best not to laugh out loud in the courtroom. And from then on, I decided I love the word opine. Let's go to another story. I got maybe time for another 2 stories or so. So right now in Europe, it's mostly about the get back. How are we going to get back at Trump? Because everybody is doubling down against Trump. My theme for tonight. So this is from a website that heretofore I didn't even know existed. And I came across it because I look everywhere for things. And I go back to the fact that, I bring the articles to you. I bring the graphics to you, the issues to you in a way that I couldn't before because I didn't have the adequate technology to be able to do it. I don't need to make any of this stuff up. I just present stuff to you. It's right in front of our faces and the faces of the American media maggots. I can look things up. I'm ancient, fat, ugly, and I'm going to cack tomorrow. The American media maggots, they can use their little fingertips and they can find the same stuff too. Let's go to this article. 5 eyes, because we have to crush America with the temerity that it possesses currently under Trump. We have to crush America. SputnikGlobe.com. I don't even remember where I found the article, but it came out just a couple of days ago. 5 eyes would go blind without U.S. backing. U.S. Army vet and intel specialist. Now, remember, go back about a week ago. I may not have mentioned this on the show, but if you were looking around and you cruise around the various digital planes and the prevailing political prairie winds have been shoving you to UK and intelligence concerns and things like that. Britain, the UK, recently decided, I have a great idea. Let's start rationing the information in terms of intel that we ship over to the United States after Trump's election. Because I'm telling you, everyone is doubling down against Trump. And basically, all the people that have said, oh, yeah, this would be a great idea. Why don't we? Let's, because if he's not going to cooperate fully with us, we're not going to cooperate with him at all. So the Daily Mail was told that while joint work intercepting electronic communications would be hard to disentangle, human intelligence by agents on the ground could be held back from being shared with the U.S., especially raw intelligence, which can be very exposing of sources if it falls into the wrong hands. So let me state the obvious. As was stated in this article, the 5 eyes is nothing without the United States of America. As people were saying, we need to completely eschew Israel. Oh, evil Israel, bad Israel, good Hamas, bad Israel, comma, you stupid shits. Where do you think we get the bulk of the intel information about the Middle East? It's not from Saudi Arabia or Iran, comma, is it? The answer is no, it's not. So the U.S. share is really huge behind this. As I've said before, because I dipped my toe into this for a little bit, there's, let me see if I get this right. There's ELINT, electronic intelligence. There's SIGINT, signals intelligence. There's COMINT, communications intelligence. There's HUMINT, human intelligence. And I think I'm missing one or two more. That's the most that I can remember it remembering. The USDIA shares a ton of stuff. The 17 intelligence agencies share a lot of stuff. And if Five Eyes were to break up for whatever reason, and if you don't know what Five Eyes is, find your favorite search engine. I sadly do not have the time or the inclination to explain it all right now. So if they were to break up, there would probably have to be some kind of a new creation of a regional intel sharing kind of thingy. Like he suggests in this article, Australia and New Zealand partnering up with Japan and South Korea, and UK ramping up intel cooperation with France and Germany. But if they try to really, truly do without the United States of America, okay, GFL, and good luck finding the money that won't be coming to you, by the way, if you decide that that's what you're going to do. See, these people are so petulant and retributive that because we have said and are actually, we're doing it on both sides. Doge is trying to turn off various spigots here in the United States. And we've decided that you don't like President Trump and we're tired of being taken advantage of. And how do reciprocal tariffs sit with you, like a 300% tariff on, say, milk into Canada and 160% tariff on our vehicles in various countries? Well, now, under President Trump, OMB Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, we're starting to say something similar to, I think we're almost done with this. And now it's you who are tired of it. You who have been exposed as the parasites sucking up from the hosts, us. Okay, but mostly I'm aiming this at you, the American taxpayer. The American taxpayer, I had an entire show 3 weeks ago. The U.S. American taxpayer funds the entire planet. You and me, we fund the entire planet. USAID, by way of leftists, was pissing all this money away. And now people are taking umbrage because we're considering the money that was literally pissed away in Ukraine and the money that was literally pissed away in NATO and the money that was literally pissed away in the EU from all the Euro trash. And now that we're finally realizing, wait, do we have to do this now? The answer is no. Jeremy Hansen makes a very interesting point. And I think it's with this that I will wrap. Instead of being petulant, they should be penitent. And oh my, would I agree about that. I'm going to end the show, but I want to mention a couple of things. We still have some folks that I believe need our prayers. And I'm a massive contrarian. I don't believe in organized religion, but I believe in God, not man. And if you believe in prayer, and if you believe in the power of the prayer, I have some people that could probably use your prayers. One of them is Scotty Roberts. I had a lengthy conversation of about an hour, maybe an hour and a half with him yesterday. And he's not doing real well. And I would suggest, if you have some time, if and when your knees hit the ground before you go to bed tonight, some prayers for Scotty Roberts. An incredible guy. I've had him on the show last year. I should have him on the show again. He's having a difficult time speaking. He's having a difficult time breathing. He had some medical issues in December, and he still hasn't gotten over all of them. He was looking so forward to be able to bring his show back a little bit later this month. He's unsure whether or not he's going to be able to do that. So if you have some prayers within you for Scotty Roberts, I would suggest that. Also, some prayers for a gentleman who has been on this show any number of times, Lonnie Poindexter, who is in Sacramento right now. He had heart surgery in late December. He's recuperating at home. He's getting better every day. But again, if you have some prayers to spare, throw them, if you will, at Lonnie Poindexter, a super good dude. Incredible dude. I love the guy like a brother. I had to leave Sacramento. I had to leave California, always spelled with a K. One of the things that I felt sad was leaving him behind and leaving another good friend of mine, Sean Lewis, behind. Those are really about the only two people I give a shit about in Sacramento. Prayers for Scotty Roberts, prayers for Lonnie Poindexter. And finally, this guy is even in a worse situation. I would ask if you have any more to spare tonight. Some prayers for our good friend at TECN, the Exceptional Conservative Network, Ken McClinton, who was on SHR at one time and then expanded and branched off to create TECN TV. He had a series of strokes, I believe 3 strokes in late 2023. As a matter of fact, I think I witnessed at one point in the very last portion of November of 2023, he was behaving really strangely. And at the time, as I was watching his show in late November of 2023, I think he was having a stroke in front of us. He is still fighting for a semblance of recovery in a year and a half. He's having some very, very serious trouble speaking, moving. If there was somebody that really does need our prayers, as far as I'm concerned, it's Ken McClinton, an incredible dude. And before I go, I want to mention this. Let's go to here. These are our shows at SHR. I want to mention the Edge of Liberty, who's on Monday and Wednesday nights. So Sean Lewis is going to be on tomorrow night. And that's at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. Edge of Liberty is on Monday and Wednesday. So he'll be on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific. And then also the Reaver of Common Sense, because if there were anyone that could reave any amount of common sense anywhere, it's Jersey Joe. Jersey Joe now is on Monday and Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's the Reaver of Common Sense, Jersey Joe. And then as far as me, you know about me. You know when I'm on. You're listening to the show right now. And the other thing that I want to mention is Mission Ready Men. This is a great show, and he deserves to be watched. He's an early morning, early afternoon kind of guy. He's not a late night guy like us, which is why if you ever are in chat and then you ever see Mission Ready Men, which is Earl Biggie Jackson, if he ever says kind of midway through the show, he says, well, I got to go see everybody. It's because he's got to go to bed. And right now it's midnight where he is. So I can certainly understand that he's got to go to bed, but he's got a great show. Mission Ready Men. It's on Tuesday and Thursday, same days as me, Tuesday and Thursday, except his show is 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon on Eastern. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to do this again. I've said this 3 times now. I also want to mention Rick Robinson's show. And Rick Robinson is kind enough to have us on KLRN. And we get some really good numbers and some really good results from Rick Robinson. And he has the Rick Robinson Show, TRRS. It's on Tuesday through Thursday, noon to 3 p.m. Pacific, 2 to 5 Central, and 3 to 6 Eastern. The Rick Robinson Show, Tuesday through Friday. Whew. That's a lot of stuff to talk about, isn't it? I think it is. You know what? I think it's time for this. And so I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media YouTube channel, the SHR Media Rumble channel, X, Twitch, KLRN, and tons of other bulbous podcast locales. As per normal, because at this point nothing has changed. Now, I used to say this. I used to say promotional consideration by Boeing, but I don't say that anymore for obvious reasons. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, and also Arrakis. They manufactured the board that I use for this each and every show. And also, thanks to Pratt & Whitney engines, they are dependable engines producing a thrust you can trust. Tiaras, right here, are by My Little Pony. And of course, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting Almost Deaf, Most Ricky Tick, about 50 feet from here. Everybody, thanks for being here tonight. God bless. Take care. Everybody be safe. See you Thursday night. Be here. Aloha.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.